It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video, and today I wanted to talk about WLED. Maybe this is something you're interested in, maybe you've never heard of it, maybe you're not sure what it is, but I several years ago got into using these addressable LEDs for decorating our house at different holidays, Halloween, Christmas, Easter, just any holidays that we like to celebrate. Sometimes it's just a regular holiday during the year, and started putting these things together and trying to learn more about everything. And I was really using some other software, which I'll go over later on in another video. But really, WLED came around not too long ago, and I was watching some great videos by Maher, I think, and I really enjoyed what he was doing. I liked what he was doing, and he was using WLED to do it all, and he's using some simple little ESP home devices that are really inexpensive, very easy to get right now. I think I got 3 for $15 or 6 for $24, like $3 a piece for these little boards. And getting it set up really isn't difficult, and it takes just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of time and a little bit of wire, maybe, but that's it. It's really very nice, and you can really get started at a pretty decently inexpensive price and do some pretty cool decorating and things like that. And the software that runs everything that I'm using right now is WLED, and it's really, really awesome. It is open source. It's got a ton of preset settings that you can pick from, and you can customize the colors and the way that things look and stuff like that. So it's really cool, and I thought, you know what, this is a good one to go over as we're coming into the holiday season where people might want to be doing some decorating, things like that. The basics of it really translate to whether you're doing indoor LEDs or outdoor LEDs. And these little boards, like I say, are so inexpensive that it's really nice, because the setup that I usually use for my outside decorations is a little bit more expensive. The boards are around $200 for the controllers on those and up. And then you're starting to talk about, expensive lights that are outdoor lights, that kind of thing. A little bit more expensive. I don't want to say expensive, but they're decently, expensive compared to these things. The setups that you need and some of the other stuff and the amount of wire you need to run your cabling and things like that gets more expensive, of course. But if it's something you really enjoy like we do, then it's worth it. After a while, you realize that that's an investment over time, which is pretty cool. But for these indoor ones, it's really nice, and I think decorating the house and making things really look nice is a great thing to do as well. So we'll kind of go through the setup for it. The install of it is super easy, and you can do it through your online systems through the browser, and then getting things running and kind of showing you what it does is really, really fun. So I think you're going to enjoy this. It should be a fairly short video, and I think you'll really like it. So we're going to get into it right after this. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and all of my patrons over at Patreon. Seriously, you guys make this so worth it for me to do these videos every week. I really, truly enjoy it, and I just can't say thank you enough. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe. Let YouTube know that I'm doing a good job by subscribing to the channel. Plus, you'll get notified when I have new videos coming out. And finally, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, give it a like. Just click on that thumbs up, and that way YouTube knows that you like it, and they'll pass it along to other people that might enjoy my content as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you again. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to come to this page, and you can see here at the bottom that it's got this different option list. So I always suggest picking the latest one. And then here we're going to click on install. Now I've got my device already plugged into the USB port on the computer and plugged into the little chip. So make sure you have that set up. We're going to click on install. Usually you have to scroll all the way to the bottom just like this, and then you'll see this line of text. Now if you don't, there's some instructions they have here of things you might try, and depending on your operating system. In my case, I'm using Linux. I'm on a desktop PC. I tried it on a different version of Linux, so this is Ubuntu 23.04 desktop, I believe. The other one was Mint 21, so it didn't work, but this one does, so it's fine. So I'm just going to hit install, and through the web browser, it's going to go out and find that hardware and install it. It's very quick. So we're just going to say install WLED, then we'll confirm the installation. So you can see the progress there as it's doing the installation, which is really great. I mean, this is all being done right through the web browser, so that's pretty amazing. I mean, that you don't have to download a whole bunch of software, configure a whole bunch of stuff, and then get this thing loaded up anymore. It's really just right through the browser, plug it into a USB port, and get it installed. So really, really terrific that they've done this, and that honestly, these little ESP boards can do so much. They're just super tiny, but they're super capable of doing a really big amount of work, which is awesome. Alright, it's done, and when it's done, I usually see a really bright little blue light on the top of the board, which tells me that it's powered up and running. We're going to say next. So it says, do you want to configure Wi-Fi? So this is a good opportunity for you to configure the Wi-Fi for your device. So in this case, drop this down and find your Wi-Fi network, and then put in the password for your Wi-Fi, of course, and click on connect. So again, you're not having to do anything like what you would with a normal install, which you would have to connect to the board directly through its Wi-Fi kind of default SSID, then change it, then reconnect to it. So they've gotten us connected. Now we can just say visit device, and it'll take us right to the device page, and we can see here what it looks like. So we've done that part. We've installed WLED on our ESP8266. We can go to the web page. We can actually see what's going on with it, and there's a lot here in this user interface that can really tell us a lot about what's going on. So here you've got different preset patterns, and this is a massive list of preset patterns. So right now it's just on solid color. So if we had lights connected, it would be showing a solid color. But I mean, look at this list. It just goes on and on and on of all these different types of things that you can do. Now they've got a really cool feature. So if you don't have your lights connected yet, but you want to know what does something do, they have this preview button up here. So if you click on preview, you see this little line right here that shows up right above everything. I'm going to click it off, and I'll click it on again. You see that little line that shows up? So now if I click on a pattern, you'll see that this is telling you that's what it's going to do on your actual light devices. Very, very cool. Now if you click on a different pattern, it'll try to show you what it's going to do there. And you can kind of see it moves very, very little at the ends there. There we go. There's some different things that it's doing. So really cool that you can see what the patterns do. You kind of be ready whenever it's time. And then over here, you've got a lot of adjustments that you can make given whatever pattern you're looking at. So if we're looking at this Android one, it changes. And if we go back to solid, then you can just pick a different color that you want. So right now it shows you just a solid color. You can also break your light strings into segments. So let's just say you have a strip of 300 LEDs and you want to break that into 100 light segments. You can create your first segment, set it to 100, add another segment, set it to 100, add another segment, set it to 100. And then you'll have those different segments that can do different things at the same time. So also really cool and really powerful to be able to do that. And then over here, you can actually set up presets, so things that make it really easy for you to go and actually use this in a very fast way. But this is almost the exact same thing as what you get on the phone interface. In fact, if we take this, I think, and we squish it down, yeah, you'll see it starts to go into a vertical mode, kind of a non-desktop mode. Now you can see my recording stuff in the background there. But as we come back out, then you see it kind of expands back out. So right now it's in PC mode, but if we click, you see it goes back out of PC mode, and we've got these different toggles here at the bottom that let us get to the different items that we may want. And this is going to be the same kind of concept that you'll see on your phone or your tablet, those types of devices that are mobile, and then the built-in application, of course, does that too. For now, we can put it back to PC mode so we can see all of our controls on the screen at the same time, because that's the purpose of a nice big screen. So this is WLED, very fast to get it installed. Very easy to get it set up and running, and then you can of course use the preview mode to see what's going on whenever you're clicking these buttons if you don't have your LEDs hooked up yet. But what's the fun in that? We actually want to connect up a strip of LEDs and see what we can make this thing do. So I'm going to talk about the hardware you'll want for that, and I'll have some links in the description. These are not affiliate links, these are just links that I'm finding, so you may want to look around yourself and see if you find other options that may be less expensive. I'm just going to post a few that I think are reasonable price links and let you try to get out there and buy the hardware you want. I'll definitely list the things that are needed and the things that are optional so that you can try this out at the least cost if that's what you want. Alright, I wanted to lay out kind of all the pieces that you actually need to make one of these systems work. So there are a few little pieces to it. So of course first you've got your LED strip here. So this has a couple of different ways of getting input to it, and you can cut them. So I've already cut a little bit off of this one because I used it for another project. I'll show you here in just a minute. You've got these little Wago clips. They're really useful for clipping together wires very quickly without having to do a bunch of soldering. So you get these little clips, and they have, so this one's a 1-to-1, so end to end. So you put a wire in here and a wire in here, and you clip this down on it, and then that mechanism side clamps down on the wire and makes that connection for you. So this is pretty nice. Sometimes you have more than one thing you need to put together, so maybe you need to run 3 different power wires or 3 different ground wires or something together, and so these kind come in pretty handy for that. And again, it's the same idea, except in this case you've got this is a 2, not a 3, but you clip both of the, oh no, you do have 3, sorry. This is a 3, so you open all 3 of these, put your wires in however many you need, whether it's 2 or 3, put one in each place and clip it down on it, and then that makes that connection between those 3 wires for you without having to twist things and use wire nuts and stuff like that. And then of course you've got the 2 one, and I've even got some that have 5 on them, so just depending on what your needs are. These are really handy and really pretty cheap to get, which is great. These little wires here, you know, these just pull apart, and you've got, you know, an end that'll go over the pin on the ESP32 board, and then an end that'll connect to a wire somewhere if you need to. Again, you can use that to clip things together with these guys. You can clip off the end, or you can use one with a pin on it. It doesn't matter. The actual ESP board itself is pretty nice. So you've got this really nice board, and then you've got these pins over here. So on the end, you've got a micro USB connector. So you connect this and connect it to your computer, and that's how we did the install, was basically through this little connector right here. Once you've got that done, I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to turn this around actually. And so if you look here on the board, it's got some nice markings. I'll try to get my camera to be still here. Sorry about that. It's pretty wobbly. You've got VN right here on the last pin, and then you've got your ground on that second pin. So on this side, you're already set. You can set your power up pretty quickly with your voltage in and your ground. You want a 5-volt input. On this other side, if you look, it's got these markings for data for D0, D1, D2, and so on. So I'm running off of D4, which is actually the 5th pin. So you can find that 5th pin and make a connection to your data, your green line. So if you look at the line on these lights, you've got this nice quick connect here. And if you look at this connector, it's got red, green, and white. So red is your voltage, that's your VN. 5 volts. Green is your data. That's what tells the LEDs what to do and when to do it. And then you've got your white, that's your ground, so you would connect that to your ground. So you get this nice little clip that kind of works with some things too that comes in the package. But you also have, you can just clip that off and use the separate wires. It's kind of up to you how you do that. And then the last thing that you really need is going to be a power supply. So you've got the cord, you've got this 5-volt power supply that you can buy online, and then you've got this nice little barrel connector that this power supply can plug into. So on this side, you plug in your voltage and your ground, you tighten those down, and then whenever you need to plug it in, you just connect these barrel connectors together just like you normally would, and then you've got power going to your WLED pretty easily. So it's really all a very nice setup to keep you from having to do too much soldering. Now, soldering for long-term projects is going to be better in a lot of cases, and learning how to solder is a whole other video. But the video that I mentioned earlier by Maher, he's got a really great video on how to solder. He's got tons of videos on what to do with these LED things, so I'm definitely going to link you to his channel because he knows what he's doing. He's got some really great projects he's done, but you can really get creative with these things and kind of do all kinds of fun stuff. So I've got a project back here that I'm going to show you. I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod for a second, but right here under my desk you can see those LEDs moving, and that's just a piece of track, of white track that they sell with a diffuser on it. And that diffuser is what makes that look very smooth and very nice instead of like separate individual LEDs running. So it's really a nice way to run it, and it's running off of WLED and an ESP8266 board just like I showed you, and really makes it easy to put things together. So the last thing I want to do is show you how to put these things together. So I've already got a couple of these guys clipped, and I just stripped the other end and I put it into the center of this Wago clip right here, so you can kind of see how that's going in there. I did that with both the power that I'm going to use and with the ground side that I'm going to use. So the ground side's kind of a yellow color, I think, and the power side's more of an orange color. So what we need to do is actually connect this guy for power to those things. So this will actually run the power in from our brick over here. And then we also need to connect these wires up that are here at the end of our strip, of our power strip. So again, we need to separate the red, the white, and the green, and then get those connected to the right places. And then finally we've got this little bridge that we're just going to use to get to our chip. Now you could do this with a Wago clip as well, just to make it a little bit easier and more, a better connection. Especially long term, you might want to do something more like that. And then of course we've got to hook things up to the actual board here, the ESP8266. So first, let's just start with our LEDs, and we're just going to start with the power side here. So I've got the Wago clip right here, and I'm just going to take the red of my LED strip wire here. So if you just set these together, so we want to take this red one here, and we're just going to separate it off, make sure that's kind of straight there. We're going to get our Wago clip, and we're going to put this into that first position there, about that far, and clip it down, and then it's tight so I can't pull it out. That tells me that I've got it set pretty well. Now for the last piece on the Wago clip, I want to take my power connector, and I want to put this red one here into that last position, and basically this Wago clip then connects all three of these pieces together. So I'm just going to grab this, I'm going to straighten this up a little bit, and then I'm just going to put it into this last hole here, so make sure you guys can really see this pretty well. So I just push it in, and again just clip it down, and those really clip down when they clip, so be careful so you don't catch your finger with it, because it doesn't hurt, but I mean it'll surprise you for sure. So we've got our power side connected to everything except to the ESP8266, so we're halfway there. We're going to take our white from the LED strips now, and this is our ground. So this is what we want to connect to our ground side. So again, we'll get our ground Wago clips here, and we'll just bring this up where we can kind of see what we're doing and push that into the ground side, and then clip that down. And I didn't catch it. Let me pull that a little bit just to make sure I'm getting it. If you don't quite put it in far enough, it won't catch, but that's okay. You just open it up and try again. So we'll just try that again. And again, I'll put this over here where you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, I hope. There we go. Maybe I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to clip it. That time it caught, so now I've got that one done. And then the same thing with this power adapter. So I want to go and grab this guy, and I want to get the ground side, and I want to put that into the other side of the Wago clip here. So I'm just going to pull this out of the way. Holding all these things is a little bit tricky sometimes, but we're going to just push this into it. So I'm going to push that in there just like that, and again just clip that down. It grabs a hold. We're set. So we've got our power connected on everything that we need, and then we've just got these last three that have to go to the actual ESP32 board or ESP8266 board. So we'll take our power side first here, and we're just going to put that to our voltage in. So if we hold it in this orientation with the micro SD on this particular model, again I'll zoom it in so that you can kind of see exactly which one we're trying to look at here. But if you look right there, this first one says VN, so we just want to go here and get that on that first pin, and then we're going to grab the one from our ground, and it's going to go on our second pin. So if we again look at our information there, you can see that says ground, GND, that's ground. So we're going to put this on there just like that. So we have those two right next to each other. The last one we need to do is this D, the data, and we want D4 in my case, so that's going to be this fifth pin here. And we've got this little guy to bridge this gap, so we'll come over here and grab this one, and I'm just going to straighten it up a little bit, and we just want to put that right inside of there. You get no depth perception when you're holding these things in front of a camera. And then I'm going to take this other end, and we're going to grab our ESP32 board again, and again if we just get it in the right orientation, we can flip it up and we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want it on this pin right here, just like that, and I want to just push that on there all the way, and there we go, we are set. All we have to do now is take this barrel connector, plug our brick into the wall, and then take our other end of our barrel connector and connect these guys, and we're going to have power to the ESP32 or the ESP8266 and to our LEDs. And then you go into the WLED software and you do all of the configuration like I showed you, tell it how many LEDs you want to light up, all those kind of things, and you're going to be up and running. So we're going to look at the running side of the LEDs, but there you go, everything's set up and configured and ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along on the open source journey with us, and I'll talk to you next time. It's your open source advocate, and I'm back, and I've set up a store with a little bit of merchandise. I love being your open source advocate, but I want you guys to be the open source advocates with me. So if you want to, get out there and get some of this stuff. And if you do, let me know what you think of it. Thank you for subscribing.